Hello, welcome to day 4 of #July Postcard Challenge, hosted by Carrie Griffiths, aka Carrie the Crafter. I asked you guys if you wanted to see me pick one out every time or not, and it was mixed answers. So, I am going to do a compromise. Welcome to my channel. This is Darcy's Misadventures with Mixed Media. So, if you don't want to see all these, fast forward. If you do, I'm going to go through the box this one time so you can see them all, and I'll explain what I have in here basically, because that was a question somebody asked as well. A lot of these are gel plate prints, like these are all gel plate prints. They were larger sizes that I cut down for ephemera, and when I was cutting it down I made sure that I had at least 1 to 2 4x6 pieces. This one's actually just on paper. This one's on cardstock. A lot of them are on mixed media paper. This one is just on thicker paper as well. These are on watercolor paper. That was a technique I did, ethereal. So if you look up ethereal gel plate print, you might get that. This is actually the original of the very first digital that I made, which is autumnal something. It's got like fall animals, foresty feeling. Autumnal woodland is what it was. So yeah, you can see that some of these were just full size, and I cut them down, and I was able to get at least 2, 4x6 on some of them. This one I made a long time ago. This is just painty paper, not done on the gel plate. This one was done on the gel plate. This is kind of like a cleanup on the gel plate. This was also a cleanup on the gel plate. This was just when I did the color combo for Makers of Mixed Media Art and Artists Facebook group. That's probably a long haul, which I did not explain when I said long haul in the first video. But if you look at the pinned comment under the first video for July, I do explain what a long haul is, and I give you a video you can look at. This is watercolors with a little bit of mark making in it. Here's another one that I believe was the result of a long haul. And this is the result you get with a long haul. You get all this interesting line happening in there. Let's see. There were 2 of those. Where's the other one? Oh, they're here. They're here. This was just cardstock. And when you're doing gel plate prints, this is another gel plate print, it's good to use at least 24 to 32 pound paper. I know that PM Artist Studio likes to use a 32 pound premium paper. This was watercolor paper because of what I was going for. This was just a little piece, mixed media piece with watercolor and whatnot that it was larger, and I just cut it down so you get some interesting pieces when you cut them down. Like maybe you don't love it as a whole, but you cut it down. Here's another piece of an original from the autumnal woodland digital kit. This is on cardstock, not super thick, but I'm possibly going to back these anyway. And the watercolor ones are like 300 pound. This one's I think this one's like 90 pound mixed media paper. So, any kind of paper. The only paper that I don't use on the gel plate is 20 pound, cheap 20 pound copy paper, because that almost always rips. So more of the ethereal paper that I did, more watercolor. And I was doing, I think that's just where I picked water or salt, I'm not sure. And this is just a cleanup, because sometimes I use my gel plate for a palette. So you get these interesting cleanup pieces. And then like if you were, this was a cleanup too, and then I had the leaf stencil over that. And then these ones, a lot of these are also, I've got some collage pieces from Collage Masterboards, and I just made sure that I cut 1 or 2 4x6s off of each one. So these are all different. They're less, this was a gel plate print. They're less likely to be used in the challenge, because I won't have 2 of them that are similar enough for my liking. But that's okay. And then like this is inks or watercolors. I think it's inks. So like distress inks on watercolor paper. A lot of these. There's another gel plate print. Alright, Darcy, this is not working. let's try this. There we go. So I figure if I go ahead and show these now, then if I do just pick them ahead of time, it will be fine. You will have seen what was in the box. There will be at least one video, maybe more, where I start from scratch and actually, you know, use my gel plate and all the things. That was a watercolor piece that I didn't love, so I just cut it down. That was just, I was playing with some stuff. Watercolors, I think. And I wasn't loving them. This was the bubble wrap, and I had some gesso, and I would put gesso on the bubble wrap, but there was also like other paints and inks that made it kind of messy and dirty. I only have one of those. So these ones that I only have one of, I just kind of put them aside to use as collage pieces. This was drop paper, which is some kind of, it's thicker than it's thicker. I get stuff at the thrift store, papers, when I can find big papers. This was something my son made in Miss Sutton. How old, what grade was Miss Sutton? She might have been 5th grade in art class, and I cut that down to use because why not? See, there's another one of those, some more of the ethereal. I had fun doing the ethereal. So there is a process. The ethereal thing is something I learned from Robin McClendon. If you do gel plate printing, you've probably heard of her. She's one of the first people that I saw do gel plate printing. This is also an original from the autumnal woodland. Yep, I do something that's drop paper. I've got 2 sides to choose from on that one, so you can do that or that. They don't all have 2 sides. This was some dimensional, so these were I used Yupo pieces and just kind of put them on card and use them as texture on the gel plate, and it got some really cool things. A lot of times you just have brayering on the back, which is good if I'm like putting them as pages in a book, because then they're not like totally blank. I was trying something with an eye. Oh, it just still shows through on there. This is when I was experimenting with distress oxides and distress inks. There's a video on that, and I just cut that into smaller pieces. This is one of my favorites. I don't know why. What is it about that I just... you want to get this kind of thing, you kind of need to have the golden fluid acrylics, or some kind of fluid acrylic. Probably doesn't have to be golden. If you find less expensive ones, they could work. It's just the transparency and the viscosity of the paints give you just some really interesting... I like that. Put that to the side too. This is when I was doing the bubble papers, and I just had a lot of inky bubbly stuff left over in it. Or actually, that was the paper that was the under paper for when I did the bubbles. That's shiny. Interesting. I guess those could go over there in that pile. I only have one of those. Can't remember if I had... I think I had 2 of those. Oh, and then these were when I did some paper dyeing, and these were like little cards, so they're a little bit thicker and they absorb the inks differently. So it's inks and tea dye probably is what's on those. This was... It's acrylics, and I just kind of like, I don't remember how I made them. I think there's a video on them, but I'm not sure. There's another piece of the original from the Woodland Autumnal. More of the ethereal. And then somebody asked me if the distress inks were still water soluble when they're in the acrylic paint, and yes they are. That was, I dripped the water on it to see. So, and then this is just more distress inks with some texture paste on it. That's another pickup. You saw that one earlier as a pickup. That's another one. I must have had a couple pages from that because I have, you know, similar pieces like that. That's more of that postcardy bit. This was just me playing around. So you do that. Get your bigger pieces of paper, just play around. You won't love them, but then you cut them down into smaller pieces, and you can definitely make them work. You know, because I can collage a piece over here so that, you know, or I can highlight this part a little bit if I wanted to, because there's probably a little bit of, can't tell it too much, but a little bit of fractals happening. And fractals is just when the same design just goes out and out and out and out, basically. I don't know, Google fractals. I had a video, Bring on the Blooms, I talked more about fractals there. That was another color combo for Makers of Mixed Media Art and Artist Facebook group. This, I was just playing with plastic bags and inks, I think, and got some really fun pieces, and just cut that down. I think you can get at least 3 pieces out of one, 3 4x6 pieces out of one 8.5 by 11, definitely, and then you can get 4 out of a 9x12 if it goes to the edge. Distress inks, that was another piece from the color challenge, which I think was like chartreuse, purple, and raspberry or something. This was a mixed media piece that I think was falling apart, so I just cut it up. More distress inks, more of that color combo. This is just cleaning up the gel plate. More of that color combo. This is an original from Vintage Finds digital that I have. More of that chartreuse and purple, and there was some raspberry in there somewhere. Oh, I do have 2 of those. I should put that over there. More of the distress inks with the paper bag, plastic bag. Sorry, there's a video. I can't link all the videos, but if you look, you'll see lots of fun videos in my repertoire. Another just collage one, similar to the one we did the dragonflies on, and that was just me playing with inks. Collage, collage. Bubble paper, I did a few on cardstock, so I put some in here. More inks. Wow, no wonder you guys are tired of seeing me go through these every time. It's taken me this long just to like show you them all. But this will be the only time that I do this. So now you got to see them all. You got to find out what they were. And a lot of these are on either watercolor, mixed media paper, cardstock. The thinner ones that are on just like 32-pound paper or tissue and whatnot are over in my pile of scraps. Alright, piles. Who are we kidding? That one could be done. Just needs like a label or something. But so some of these collage ones, I'm thinking of just like putting a doodle flower on them and just like maybe put them in my shop or something. Because I've been drawing a bunch of doodly flowers. And there's some more mark making over with tissue. And I know you see a lot of people use Carnival wet strength tissue on the gel plate, but that doesn't mean you have to, just because other people do. I use pretty much anything I find at the thrift store. I really do like a 32-pound resume paper. Some people don't, just because it's more porous maybe, I don't know, but maybe that's what I like about it. And I've also had like glossy copy paper that I've used. It's not my favorite, but I was just trying to use it up until I was like, I don't like this. But it was like a 32-pound, so it was good. More collage. So these are all just collage bits. And over the last few months, I've just been, you know, and I cut things down. I start by cutting some 4x6 pieces, and that is how I ended up with a basket full for this challenge. So I've got my 2 picked out to use for today. I have been struggling for the 4th of July because it's Independence Day in the United States, but I didn't really want to go patriotic with it. And not just because someone international could win it, just because I just didn't want to. But this one kind of like with the wonky net in the background kind of reminded me of like a tablecloth, that linen gingham tablecloth, and then the flowers with their colors especially kind of remind me of fireworks without being like on the nose. So I thought that I would use those as my base, and then I could tone it down a little bit with this piece somehow. And I still need to find I thought about using a bald eagle because I do have at least 2 bird books, or I could print one out. So I still don't know what I want to do. I'll be back. Alright, so I think today I'm going to do 1 portrait and 1 landscape. I think is what I've decided. So I took this other postcard and cut it the long way in half so I could use it as part of a collage in here. Alright, I just inked my pieces so I can go ahead and glue them down. So this one here, I'm just going to layer these 3 pieces. Okay, so I've got these 3 pieces kind of going up and down, especially the letters. And then I have my little fairy house, which will kind of go... See, my automatic is to put it down here in the corner, which then you have all that space up there, which may be good, may not be good. You just kind of have to fill it with something. But I was trying to actually put it up a little bit, not exactly in the middle, but, you know, more in the middle. And then I could have that be up there, and maybe that butterfly. And then I've got the Shabby Dabby Doodah label there. I was thinking about adding a little bit more red, since I have that red butterfly. And these flowers are almost red. Almost. Not quite, but almost. So I thought about maybe just kind of layering that here and there. And maybe bringing some of this blue. That's probably a little too big. Some of that blue in a little bit more. And I know this blue is not the same as that aqua, and that's okay. Because if you look back there, there's a little bit of aqua, but that's all right. There's blue. I'm trying to justification because to myself, because I struggle with that. But you know, it looks fine, and you know, they're next to each other on the color wheel, so it's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. So I'm gonna layer all these up. I'm gonna cut that butterfly, so the white off that butterfly too. I won't make you watch that part though. All right. So there I put 3 little labels on there. I've got my butterfly, my little fairy house, and I feel like I can just be a little bit more whimsical because it's a fairy house, and you know, there are no rules. There are no rules anyway. All right, so the next one I'm gonna do as a landscape. Oh, this worked with the houses, but not with that background for me, so. Oh, and I forgot to mention on that last one, I thought this was kind of fun because they're fairy houses, and this is a piece of book page from The Hobbit. So that was it was in the free bin, and it was already, you know, kind of falling apart, so don't come after me. And then this is Railroad Ephemera that I have that I got from Patty, Sacred Mementos, I think is the name of that. So for this one, I've got this cute little label here. I don't know if it's in any of my kits or not. I make these things and then I sometimes forget. But it's like carpenter and builder, so it could be, you know, the person that built the house. And I realized that not much of this is going to show in the end. And that's okay. It's okay, really. It's a background for a reason. And, you know, I put this in the middle just so that hopefully it helps the focal point be a little bit more focal, I guess, would be why I do something like that. And this is helpful if you have like a thing you want to use on a bigger piece and you're like, well, how am I going to make that work? Well, this is how. Oh, I've got a butterfly. This is the butterfly for that. I got to cut it out. I know, you buy these stickers and then they got these big wide white borders, so then you got to cut them anyway. And to make my life easier, I left the antlers, I detached the antlers and those little skinny little things on his wings because I didn't want to deal with it. Alright, now do we want to bring in a little bit of the blue again? See, there's way less blue on this one, so I'm not feeling compelled to bring it in as much. Oh, where's my number 4? I do want my number 4. I was thinking of putting that over here and then putting this here. And he's got the green and the aqua. And that's the pink from the roof, which is on fire. No, it's not. We don't have to layer things on here like we did the last one. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Hey, there's a 4 on that one, though. It's more orangey, though. Alright, maybe not. What about this one? That brings that green, sort of that green down a little bit. No, I don't think I like the labels on that one. See, sometimes you want extra labels and sometimes you don't. Sometimes you feel like extra labels. So that's all big gloober kind of getting stuck in there. It's alright, we'll use it to Get that glued down. And while this is a sticker, doesn't mean that I trust it. He might be a moth. I think his antlers, antlers. I watch Gail Augustin LA, so sometimes we'll say antlers like she does. His antenna, I think, are a little on the fluffy side. But what he does is he helps all that kind of, where there were like the 3 corners, it was kind of busy in that corner. So he just kind of covers that up. I could have put him in a little bit more of an angle, maybe. But it's all good in the neighborhood. Alright. Alright, I was looking at these over here, and I thought this one was kind of funny. It says for good measure, and we've got this little carpenter and builder thing here. So I thought for fun, I would just add that there. I may have to put some glue on that. I did ink the edges. So here is the one that is the landscape mode. I thought about adding some stamping, but it's pretty busy in the background. So I thought about, let's see, life is short and insecure, that I would not hurry away from any pleasure. And then I thought I would put reserved on this one. Maybe like right there. So like, you know, maybe it's a little fairy hotel and it's reserved. So there we go. There is for the 4th. Hope you guys have a delightful day. And for those that live in the United States, happy 4th of July.